everyone, welcome to iExamB. The NABARD Grade A Phase 1 exam results are out and now you need to prepare for the Phase 2. In this video, I am specifically going to talk about the finance stream and how you should prepare to score well in your finance paper in Phase 2 of the NABARD exam. The exam dates have been announced as the 29th of October, which leaves you with exactly 25 days to prepare for your Phase 2. Let's have a look at the exam pattern quickly. The Phase 2 will comprise of two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 will be about your general descriptive English. 3 questions, 1 letter, essay and précis will be asked here, and you will be given 1.5 hours to write this paper. The second paper will be your stream specific paper, which in your case is the finance paper. So this finance paper will have two aspects, the objective and descriptive both. The objective will be of 50 marks consisting of 30 MCQs, and your descriptive part will be also of 50 marks, where you will be given 6 questions and you will have to attempt 4 questions. So 2 questions of 15 marks you have to attempt, and 2 questions of 10 marks you have to attempt, to total of 50 marks. So these both descriptive papers will be typed paper where you have to type the answer using a keyboard. So they are not handwritten, they are keyboard based papers that you have to prepare for. Okay, so some important topics. So a vast syllabus has been given for the finance paper. A very detailed syllabus has been given consisting of 5 parts, talking about the financial accounting, the managerial accounting, the auditing aspects, and the syllabus related to 2 certain degrees that have been mentioned, one being the BMS and the second being the BBA. However, from this vast syllabus, there are certain important topics that you should be concentrating on. Now, given the 25 days, and if you have still not started your preparation, some of the students had started the preparation right after giving the Phase 1 exam, which has given them enough time and practice in this time. However, if you are starting now, you do not have the luxury of going through the entire syllabus that has been mentioned, because it's a vast syllabus, and frankly speaking, the syllabus has been just picked up from the certain degrees and exams and has been pasted there. So it is very important that you pick up the right points and focus your energy on preparation of those topics. So some of the key topics which I have listed down here that you should definitely go through are your basic accounting principles, concepts and conventions, because this can be very helpful in your MCQs and your numerical questions solutions. Then financial statements preparation and analysis. This is basically one of the most important topics in the finance any finance exam, and similarly for NABARD Finance. How the financial statements are made, what is balance sheet, what is profit and loss, what is cash flow statement, how they are made, what are the elements that go into it are very important. As I mentioned, cash flow statement and their difference with the fund flow statement. What is the difference between these two, why these are made, what are the items that go into it, is important topic for understanding. Ratio analysis, which is basically your financial statement analysis part. It is one of the techniques of financial statement analysis, is another very key important area. It is very probable, very high probability that you will have some numerical from this topic. Then the concept of time value of money and capital budgeting, depreciation and inventory valuation, again both from the MCQ point of view and from the numerical point of view are very important topics. Apart from these, risk management in banking and finance, certain understanding, because banking and finance and NABARD being a financial institution, risk management is impertinent to understand here. So key elements of what goes into risk management, what are the risks, that kind of basic understanding is enough for this particular exam. Then cost accounting aspects, this can be a little varied topic, big topic. However, it is very important for you to go through the methods, at least be able to differentiate within different methods. What is variable costing and absorption costing and marginal costing, standard costing and variance analysis, break-even analysis, another very important topic for numerical point of view, and certain inventory management techniques names you should be aware about. Then cost of capital, financial and operating leverage is another financial concept that can be helpful here. Working capital management, mergers and corporate structuring related aspects. Auditing is important. In auditing also, the most important aspects that you should focus on is what is the objective of auditing and the process of auditing. What are the various types of auditing, especially the newer types of audit that have come up, like environmental audit and social audit, so these aspects are more important. They are the developments in the auditing and the accounting system and the parlance, so that is very, very important for you to go through. And then simple concepts of principles that are there in banking, like banking ethics, banking setup, that will be important. Here I will also add understanding of the money market and the various instruments that go in the money market. And in last but not the least, another topic related to business studies, and that of organization behavior and business communication. This will include aspects like knowing the names of various leadership styles, what is motivation, how business communication happens, right? So a broad structure of how organizations work and function in terms of human resource will be an important aspect to cover in this syllabus. There are certain topics that have been mentioned in the syllabus, especially under the aspect of BMS and BBA, for example, managerial economics or business statistics or business laws, which many times worry students, and they wonder how much and till what extent they should be preparing, because these can be vast topics. My general advice for this is that some key definitions, like if you're talking about managerial economics, and these things you should pick up if you have time in these 25 days. Practicing is very, very important, and going through the most important topics is the first preference. If you are left with time, you can go through some basic concepts in here. For example, in managerial economics, knowing what the law of demand is. Okay, what is the definition of, say, elasticity, right? And what is equilibrium between demand and supply. So simple concepts like these, or what is what goes under the production cost, or what are the market structures. There are 4 basic market structures, and what do they mean, what are the key characteristics. So like these, some key important points you can pick for revision purposes. It's likely that such questions can be asked, if at all, in the MCQs only, and less likely that they will be asked to explain in detail in the descriptive paper. Similarly, for statistics, simple things like knowing the definition or meaning of mean, median, mode, or how they are different from each other and the relationship between them. This can be what you can look at. And if I'm talking about business laws, so business laws consist of many laws, right? Here, if you have to focus on any of these, my suggestions will be that you look at the Companies Act. Okay, and in the Companies Act also, because of auditing being a part of generally your overall syllabus, understanding the auditor related details, the auditor chapter, that you can look at. And apart from that, again, simple things like the meaning of prospectus, what does a shelf prospectus mean, what is a private company, what is a public company, right? Simple concepts like these is what you can be aware about and can revise. So that will be my advice for you in the preparation of your finance syllabus. Now look at the type of questions that have come. I did a detailed video related to it. You will find the link for that in the description, which I discussed each and every question, so you can have a look at that. However, if I look at the areas from where the questions had come, costing related concepts and terms had been asked in the 1 marker question. There were 5 questions such. So before I go into it, how the 30 questions and objectives is structured, let me explain that. In the 30 questions that come, you get 10 questions which are of 1 mark, and you get 20 questions which are of 2 marks. Okay, That's how you get the 50 marks out of your 30 questions. Now these 20 questions which are of 2 marks, these are based on a passage. So usually a passage is given to you, or some information is given to you, based on which you have 4 or 5 questions that are asked there, right? So these questions, this passage can be useful. For example, in case of numerical questions, information is given to you for calculation of certain items and certain ratios, and that is why it is given to you, and they are linked together. And sometimes then a passage could be there just talking about a topic and not necessarily giving you an information related to the questions that follow, right? So these are the 2 marker questions. This is how the structure of the objective questions is. So last year in the 1 markers, almost 5 questions were related to the costing terms and concepts only, and they were simple, like, you know, imputed cost, what does it mean? So definition of that was asked, right? Cost sheet related terms were asked. So they were simple, they were not very deep questions, but definitely conceptual questions. Another concepts, the other finance and accounting concepts related questions were asked, and there were 2 such questions they were there. One question was related to depreciation, one was related to business arrangements, to be specific, one of the kinds of mergers they had asked, and one was related to the auditor. So this was related to the auditor guidelines as given under the Companies Act, right? So that related to that aspect, they had asked this one question. If I talk about the 2 marker questions that had come last year, there was passages based MCQs that were there. 2 passages were there for ratio analysis. In one of the passages, they had given information from the balance sheet, and you had to calculate certain ratios, and in another passage they had given information related to the profit and loss statement, and you had to calculate again certain ratios. So almost 2 passages leading to 8 questions that had come. Then there was one passage related to Nidhi company, okay, what a Nidhi company is, and there were 4 questions related to certain rules and regulations related to Nidhi company. So Nidhi companies are not regulated under Companies Act. The MCA gives guidelines related to Nidhi company, so you know, related to their size, what kind of reporting they have to do, that kind of questions had come here. One passage was related to audit, and very simple questions related, like what is forensic audit, such definitions were asked, and 4 questions again were from here. And then last passage was related to organization behavior. To be more specific, it was covering the aspect of motivation, and one of the most commonly and talked about motivation theories, which is the need hierarchy theory given by Maslow. So there were questions, and very simple questions. If you know this theory, these 4 questions was a cakewalk. The descriptive questions that had come last year, many of them were very generic in nature, and some of them very simple and conceptual. Like the first question was the differentiation between the financial accounting and cost accounting, a very simple and direct question. This is something that you read first when we start reading accounts. The other 2 questions were related to organization behavior, covering the communication aspect and the importance of communication in a business, and the various leadership styles and how they impact the business outcome. If I talk about the 15 marker questions, there was one question related to environmental audit, and the other 2 questions were mostly around marketing, differentiating between marketing and sales, and the other was about the business models of brick and mortar model and the e-commerce or the online, and how, whether and if at all they complement or contradict each other. So this was another generic question that was asked. So given the type of questions that was asked were very simple and not too complicated or finance related. However, I do not feel that this kind of trend is likely to continue this year, at least to so much of extent, where so less of actual finance questions were asked. Reason being, last year was the first time where NABARD ventured into this exam pattern of descriptive plus objective, and usually we've seen whenever there's a change, the questions are kept less difficult or deep, and they are mostly generic to give students enough choice to be able to write answers here. This year there will still be certain topics which you will be able to write, like essays, from your general understanding and information. However, there you can expect a little more questions from the finance topics this year. So prepare accordingly. For these particular questions, if you want to know the answers and how the answers could have been written, you can download the PDF where we have given certain sample answers for all these 6 questions. So is descriptive difficult? Actually, no, this is a misconception. If we look at the marks last year, these are the cutoff marks that were given. If I look at the finance paper cutoffs for last year, the unreserved category in the objective and descriptive both had similar marks. In both, the cutoff was 17.5 and 17.5 out of 50. So it's not like, objective was easier and descriptive was more difficult. And for your descriptive English paper, the cutoff was 50.25. And if I talk about the overall cutoff for finance last year, it was 113.33 out of 200 marks. So descriptive is not difficult on its own. The whole paper is in general structured in a manner to give you enough scope to score both from the objective and from the descriptive answers. What your approach should be, you should keep practicing writing your answers, especially by typing and not writing by hand, because the actual exam is also from typing. You should focus on all the main points which have been asked in the question. So if the question is asking about you to differentiate, don't just write the definitions and move on. Do bring out the differentiation points, or what is the difference between two aspects categorically in the points that you mention there. You also need to structure your answer into an intro, the main body which is dealing with the actual question that has been asked, and a conclusion or 2 or 3 lines which is summarizing what you have written in the main answer, right? So that is how you should go about writing your descriptive answers. The focus areas for certain topics like your numericals, again, that you have to keep in mind are the ratio analysis, the depreciation, break-even analysis, marginal costing and standard costing related topics, cost of capital, especially what is the CAPM model, how cost of equity is done, how tax is accounted for in the cost of debt, and what is WACC, weighted average cost of capital, and simple concept of time value of money, how it is used, how we discount and how we compound. If I talk about the descriptive, the main important points that you should focus on are the accounting principles and the types of accounting, the accounting principles and the type of accounting, the audit process, types of audit and the standards of auditing, the budgetary control, financial statements and cash flow related questions, money market and business communication. We are also going to start with the classes from today itself. We take 8 classes in the month of October to cover your numerical practice, objective practice and descriptive finance question and answers discussion. We'll take 5 classes related to description, and before that numerical practice will be done, and some other important topics related to the syllabus and how you should approach will be discussed. We will also have a descriptive English class every week, so approximately 3 to 4 classes for descriptive English also will be done for you before the exam. This is how the practice at iExamB is done for the descriptive. You are given the question and you can type your answer here, just like in the actual exam you will have to type. So 5 such mock tests have been prepared, including the objective and the descriptive part with the similar timelines. The times runs here and you will attempt your answers, and this will be submitted for you to practice. You get individual feedback and evaluation from the faculty. They will check your questions. So this is a screenshot of last year, how we had checked. The answer is provided by the faculty, what marks you score, what they feel went wrong and what was correct is mentioned, so that you know how your practice has been like. So for this, you are given 5 mock tests, as I mentioned, which is a combination of both the objective and the descriptive. You're also given the sample answers for various questions. So like separate practice test sets are given for you to practice from, and sample answers are given for that. And even for the mock test sample answers, the questions that we have asked, sample answers are given in a PDF form, so that you can download and read them and mark as important points. Apart from that, for your objective practice, so this is for your descriptive practice sample answers. For objective practice, more section tests are added in addition to the mock test for your practice. So all these are the features. If you want to be part of this preparation, you can join the Phase 2 Finance course by using the code NAB70. Thank you everybody. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and press the bell icon.